You guys remember there was a trend here probably about 10 years or so ago where people would wear these bracelets that said WWJD, what would Jesus do? And they were reminders to people of that faith, right? That they should follow the example of Jesus Christ, that they should conduct themselves in a manner that would, you know, as closely as possible represent how Jesus Christ would have reacted in any sort of given situation. And so people used to wear these bracelets as reminders to themselves of how they would want to behave or how they would like to see themselves behaving. And I always thought that was kind of neat, right? You wear these things around, you see the bumper stickers, you see the bracelets and things. But I have one for you that maybe you haven't thought about. So many of us have this vision in our mind of what we would like to accomplish, the kind of body we'd like to have, the kind of relationship we'd like to have, the kind of business we'd like to have, the kind of income we'd like to have, the kind of employment we'd like to have, the kind of home we'd like to live in, right? If you've been in any sort of personal development courses, goal-setting courses, if you spend any time at all listening to the Daily Dose, then by now, surely you've written these things down, what you want your ideal life to look like. Here's the question that I would ask you. Are you conducting yourself in a manner consistent with the person that you'd like to see yourself become? In other words, should you put your mental bracelet on that says, what would I do? You see, if you had the perfect body, if you had the best relationship you could imagine, if you had the perfect marriage, if you had the kind of income that you want, if you lived in the kind of home that you wanted, if you had the kind of business that you wanted, if you had the kind of spiritual life that you wanted, what would you do? How would you behave? How would you react? How would you conduct yourself? What kind of language would you use? What kind of decisions would you make? What kind of thinking would you have? In other words, what would your ideal self do in this situation? And here's a news flash for you. The sooner you start conducting yourself now the way that you imagine you would if you had all of those things, the sooner you'll have them, because until you become larger, until you become on the inside that person that you want to see yourself become on the outside, no changes are going to take place. Because you see, it's been your thoughts, your decisions, your actions, your attitudes that have gotten you exactly where you are right now. So imagine in your mind, say to yourself, what does the perfect me look like? If I had the spirituality that I wanted, and the income that I wanted, and the business that I wanted, and the influence that I wanted, and all of those things, if all of those things were true right now, what would I do? And then hold yourself to that standard as you make decisions about how to proceed in your business, in your spirituality, in all of those other things. By the way, I certainly think that what would Jesus do is a pretty doggone good standard to use, right, as well, but not to compare the two directly, but just simply to say that if you've got a vision or an ideal in your mind of what you would look like and your life would look like once everything's in place that you'd like to see achieved, the question you must ask yourself is, if all of that were true now, what would you do? How would you speak? How would you walk? How would you talk? What kind of decisions would you make? And then you begin acting as it's already true. And then you'll begin to see fruition in your life. With that, guys, you know what to do. Make it a great day.